Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be continuing our read through of this book called History of the World Map by Map. But if this is the first time you've seen a video in this series, don't worry, you don't have to go through and watch all the others. You can start from here because I do something a little different with this book than the other videos on my channel, because all the others I rehearse well in advance and practice reading out loud and all that stuff. This one I have not read at all. I've looked through the maps that we're going to look through today to pick out which ones to do, but I haven't read any of the little facts that we're going to go over. And you guys that have seen videos in this series seem to really enjoy it, so thank you so much. Let's get into it. I'm so excited because these are about regions that I know about but not too much about. First we're going to be exploring, you can't really see this angle, it is Mauryan India. India during the Mauryan Empire. So I gotta make this a little awkward for you to be able to see the boxes too. So let's start with the first box here. It says Magadha. The state of Magadha in northeastern India became dominant during the time of the Buddha, who spent much of his life there. Magadha expanded under its ruler Bimbisara, who took over the state of Anga to the east of his homeland and bolstered his power with marriage alliances, so preparing the way for later rulers of Magadha to extend their territories. Let's see, Magadha, that's during circa 558 to 365 BCE. And I don't think it's really delineated, but you can see right here that's Magadha. They mentioned Anga, so it's up in this region here. Interesting. Next we have the Nanda Empire, which is circa 365 to 321 BCE. Nanda, the first northern Indian empire, began in Magadha and expanded westward in the 4th century BCE. It was governed by a network of ministers, and trade was eased by a standardized system of weights and measures. The Nanda rulers imposed their power with a vast army. They were famous for their great wealth, and their capital at Pataliputra was especially lavish. So this one is delineated on the map. You can see all of this yellow outline here was part of their empire. All this region here. It's pretty big. I mean, if you know India, India is gigantic. So it might look small on this map, but I guarantee you this is like a huge empire. Circa 321 BCE, it says this size here. Then we have the Mauryan Empire, circa 321 to 185 BCE. In 321 BCE, Chandragupta Maurya conquered the Nanda Empire, gaining support from Nanda factions who resented their rulers' wealth. He extended his empire westward into the edges of the area previously occupied by Alexander the Great. Chandragupta's son and successor, Bindusara, later added territory in southern India. The empire was the largest India had seen and lasted until 181 BCE. So all the purple here is how big it was at its height. You can see going way up here into the mountains. Along here, and ending right there. That's a really big empire. I can't wait to see what all the little symbols are for. I think we're going to find out in the next one. The Edicts of Ashoka. The Mauryan Emperor Ashoka converted to Buddhism after seeing the carnage that accompanied the conquest of Kalinga in 261 BCE. Ashoka set up pillars and had rocks inscribed with his edicts, announcements of his conversion to Buddhism and commitment to Buddhist teachings. The edicts cover subjects ranging from religious tolerance and justice to kindness to animals. So these little symbols are the pillar edicts of Ashoka, and this shape here is rock edicts. So we can see lots and lots of rocks down here in the south. There's one pillar right there. And then lots and lots of pillars here, kind of in the central area. And a couple of stone ones up in the north, even one over there. What was he doing over there? I guess he was checking out Alexandria, spreading Buddhism along the way. There's a couple down along the coast here and there. Very cool. I wonder how many are still standing today and how well preserved they are. That'd be something to look up. Let's see what's next is the invasions from the north in the 2nd century BCE. In the 2nd century BCE, the powerful Chinese Han dynasty, which we're going to look at next, I believe, expanded its boundaries. This put pressure on peoples in areas such as Gansu. They moved south, in turn displacing local Scythian populations. The result was the movement of people across the Indus, deep into areas such as Saurashtra, which helped to undermine already weakening Mauryan power. So this dark blue arrow here is displaced northern Shaka people. The Shaka people, you think? I don't know, that reminds me of like Shaka Zulu, which is the wrong place in time, right? But I've never heard of them. Traveling down to here, there's a little box talking about it. We'll look at that in a second. This bright blue one is movement of Central Asian populations. You can see them moving down from the desert and the plains here. There's the Scythians trying to find better places. Oh, you can see there's the Shakas right there. Can you see? Shakas. Interesting. The light blue are the displaced Shaka people, so they're coming from here and entering into the peninsula area here, the central area. Very interesting. Yeah, I didn't know a lot about this. Let's read all these little boxes and learn some more. It says right here in 317 BCE, Taxila, I have no idea how to pronounce that. Taxila is taken over by the Mauryans. It becomes a center of arts, crafts, and learning, and the capital of the Mauryan Empire's northern province. Let's see, down here in Lumbini, very famous spot, Lumbini, because in circa 563 BCE or 480 BCE, the Buddha was born in Lumbini, according to Buddhist tradition. Let's see, over here in circa 250 BCE, it's hard to read that, it's in the mountains. Sarnath, where the Buddha preached his first sermon is visited by the Mauryan Emperor Ashoka. Very hard to read this font against the Himalayas. Over here, can you see? You can see. The 3rd century BCE, Tosali is probably the capital of the eastern province of the Mauryan Empire. Over here in 261 BCE, Kalinga is taken by Ashoka. He becomes a Buddhist after witnessing the death of thousands in the fighting there. That's where Kalinga is. It's a place I've heard of so many times in the story of Ashoka, but I never actually knew where it was. Now I know. Very cool. Oh, there's a spot down here in the 3rd century BCE. There you go. The peoples of the south, such as Cholas, Pandyas, and Cheras, have friendly relations with the Mauryans. Yeah, the Chola people were down here and in what's now Sri Lanka. And they were a force to be reckoned with. They weren't really people you messed with. I missed one up here in the 3rd century BCE. It says Suvarnagiri is the southern Mauryan capital. It is a trading center at the meeting point of several routes. What's up here? The 4th century BCE. The kingdom of Avanti, with its capital at Ujjaini, is annexed by Chandragupta Maurya. How interesting, I feel like all I knew about the Mauryan Empire was that it existed, and then Ashoka and all of that is a huge figure in Indian history. But I didn't know any of the little details, and I definitely didn't know where everything was. So this is a really cool map I might come back to this later and learn some more. Talks about the pillars and stuff down at the bottom. I definitely want to learn more about that. But we are going to move up north to visit China's first emperor. Look at this map. This is a cool map. Hopefully I can get it all in the shot. I'm going to slide this around so it's easier for me to read. It says that Qin expansionism, 350 to 206 BCE. Originally a small state on the western borders, Qin defeated neighboring states during the Warring States period and took control of a large swath of western and southern China. Victory over the Han state in 230 BCE gave Qin the impetus to conquer the remaining states within a decade. Impetus is a really good trigger word. Impetus. In 221 BCE, Qin leader Ying Cheng took the title of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor, and ruled from Shenyang. Alright, there's a lot to look at here. Let's turn to the map and see what all these things say. The route of Qin's campaign are these yellow arrows. So he went, it looks like, yeah, there's Qin there in central China. And he moved all the way over here, up there. And it shows the years that he went along those arrows. Man, he went all the way up here too. I guess back down. All over the place. Let's see, this light green is the Qin, what does it say? Qin conquests by unification 221 BCE is the light green. It's all light green here. All the light green there. The dark green is the conquest by 288 BCE over here. So yeah, that's what he'd conquered. And they expanded out, conquering all this region. And by 206 BCE, he had taken this area. This area. Can't fit it all. And this area down here. My goodness. Very awkward little corner that I'm filming in, I guess. Let's see. Number 2 is the reign of Qin Shi Huang, 221 to 210 BCE. Qin Shi Huang introduced a series of reforms to strengthen the unity of China. These included the abolition of feudalism, which was to eliminate the traditional local and family loyalties that could threaten central power, and the establishment of a new system of administrative districts. He unified China economically by standardizing weights and measures across the realm. So the little green dots here are administrative centers, which you can see there is so many of them all throughout the area here. And spreading into there, there's a ton. Oh, that must have taken a lot of like work. Like you get the conquering done and then you have to do the desk job where you organize everything. That must have taken a lot. But it looks like it got done though. Next we have fortifying defensive walls from 218 to 206 BCE. Faced with the threat of attacks from nomadic people in the north and west, Qin Shi Huang mobilized a labor force numbering thousands to construct a unified fortification out of the defensive walls built by several Chinese rulers during the Warring States period. Okay, the Great Wall would become the Qin dynasty's most famous legacy, and you can see up here, there we go, the beginnings of the Great Wall of China, and even some down here, down there. Lots of big walls being built. It wouldn't be completed like the wall that you see in like pictures now is not this wall, but it was like the beginnings of it, right? Qin transport networks 220 to 214 BCE. Another major construction to begin during Qin Shi Huang's reign was a complex road system to allow easier travel between cities and encourage trade nationwide. The emperor also ordered the construction of a major canal linking the Xiang and Lijiang rivers to ferry supplies to the army. The red lines here are the imperial roads. So we can see roads Oh my gosh, there's a lot of them. I mean, obviously. Oh, I missed a wall right there. How cool. But roads leading here into the center and just kind of sprawling out here from, I assume that's the capital, right? All the roads leading to the capital and then sprawling out to off screen down to the South China Sea. All right, I'm more worried about how to get this last box in frame. I might have to go like this and hold it up awkwardly so you can see. I can barely read it. The fall of Qin in 210 BCE. Qin Shi Huang died while on a tour of eastern China. The people were told that he was making the trip to inspect the empire. This is very hard to read, but it was in fact a quest to find an elixir of immortality. The opposite happened. Civil disorder erupted following the emperor's death and ended with the Qin dynasty collapsing in 206 BCE. So the purple arrow here is his tour that he took. And the purple dots are towns that he visited. So let's see. Looks like you checked out down here. There's a purple dot. There's a purple dot. Purple dot. Purple dot. I visited the coast. Purple dot. Here, and then it looks like he died there. He was, so close to making the round trip, but not quite. No elixir of life over there. Alright, now let's try to get all of these little boxes in the shot. Let's see what it says up here. 218 BCE, Qin Shi Huang orders that old defensive walls such as the Yan and Jiao walls be fortified and connected. Here. This is the Yan wall. That's the Jiao wall. It says. Yep, this is where in 210 BCE Qin Shi Huang dies mysteriously at Shachu Palace. I have no idea how to pronounce that. I'm not going to try. But yeah, mysteriously died. How interesting. I guess we don't know how he died. 214 BCE, the imperial army marches south to conquer the southern tribes. Oh, okay, so that explains this arrow here, the yellow arrow. Up here in 221 BCE, the Qin divides China into 40 commanderies. That's a cool word. Local districts, each managed by an administrative center such as Pengli. Alright, let's see, I can get this one in shot. 208 BCE, Qin Shi Huang continues his military campaigns after unification in a bid to expand Qin territory. That's when he gained all of that area. There's a box over here. I have to really... There we go. Look, there he is looking all grumpy. 220 BCE, transport reforms enable the creation of a road network radiating from the capital. Oh yeah, just like I noticed. They all kind of stem out from here. And there's capital says 221 BCE. China's first emperor Qin Shi Huang establishes the Qin Empire and makes Xianyang the capital. And we have this here, I guess it's pointing to 210 BCE. Qin Shi Huang is buried with an army of 80,000 terracotta warriors in the palace tomb near Fangying, which is modern-day Xi'an. Yeah, I think there's a picture on the next page of the very famous terracotta warriors. Let's take a look. Isn't that amazing? And like, to think that this site was found by accident by a farmer who was just plowing his field and was like, I think I found a cave, and then like, boom. Crazy. You find the tomb of the first emperor. Now, in this book, tonight, I want to read a couple of pages, and there's another page about China, so I think I'm just going to skip to that while we're talking about China. That makes the most sense to me. Let's look at this map. It's a map of the Han Dynasty. This is also going to be awkward to get in shot, but we're going to start with this box here. It says the first Han Emperor, 202 to 195 BCE. Liu Bang defeated the last rebellion at the Battle of Gaijia in 202 BCE after which he took the name Gaochu as the Han's first emperor and reunified the realm by 206 BCE. He kick-started economic recovery by cutting taxes and invested in trade by nationalizing the iron and salt industries. He also invested in the country's transport infrastructure, which included the construction of canals in central China. All right, I'm going to read the box while you look at the pictures here. Battles are the blue swords. There's a battle there. Okay, we've got silk production sites here. You see a little scroll. Salt production is right here. Makes sense, by the ocean. And these are iron production sites. Oh, there's some more salt right there. And the imperial canals, I guess, are these white lines here. Very cool. Yeah, so it sounds like after the first emperor died, there was a mess until Liu Bang was the next emperor to create the Han Dynasty. Let's see if I can get this in frame. I cannot. So let's do this again. Here we go. Chang'an, 195 BCE to 23 CE. The Han initially chose Luoyang as its capital, but then ordered the construction of a new capital a few miles from the former Qin capital. Chang'an, which is modern Xi'an, was proclaimed the capital in 195 BCE. It's very hard for me to hold. With the newly built Weiyang Palace as its centerpiece. The city grew into a bustling cosmopolitan hub with nearly 250,000 citizens, second only to Rome in size and influence. So the capital's right here, and purple lines are the imperial roads, and there's way too many to point out. They go all over the place, and again you can see them all sprawling out from the capital here. Number 3 says Wu wages war. Under Emperor Wudi, the Han carried out extensive military operations to expand the empire's sphere of influence. Han forces took control of key trading cities Chirchen, Kashgar, and Khotan, and through the conquests of Nanwei and Korea, the realm extended its southern and eastern frontiers. Campaigns against the Xiongnu drove the tribe to the Gobi Desert. Alright, these maroon arrows here are the Han campaigns under Wudi, which you can see to the south and up here to the north, and hopping over to the Korean Peninsula too. And the kingdom of Nanwei is in red here. That's Nanwei, including Hainan there. Very cool. Expansion, expansion, expansion. Expanding into the China we know today, right? Extending the Great Wall, 133 to 57 BCE. Despite the Han's military successes, tribes such as the Xiongnu, Xianbei, and Wuhuan remained a constant threat, which prompted the government to extend the Great Wall right across China's northern border. The extension not only provided a defense against northern tribes, but also allowed the Han to open a safe passage westward and establish profitable trade links with the outside world, giving rise to the famous Silk Road, which there's a map of later, but way farther in the book. I'm excited to get to that map. That's got to be a good one. Alright, so let's take a look at how much the Great Wall expanded all the way this way. That's a big old wall. That is so big. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say. The Great Wall of China, I feel like people are like, oh, it's so cool, I'd love to walk across the whole thing one day. And it's like, do you realize how big that wall is? Like, it's really, really big. And it expands out even more later, I think during the Ming Dynasty, which is way later in history, but it's a big old wall. The later Han, 25 to 220 CE. 9 CE, former palace official Wang Mang usurped the throne and proclaimed the Qin dynasty. Wang Mang's reign proved unpopular and prompted peasant rebels to besiege the capital in 23 CE. Thereafter, power returned to the Han lineage, and Luoyang was named the new imperial capital. By forming alliances with the various northern tribes, the later Han gained control of territories to the north and west. So the yellow star is the new capital. Oh, right here. It kind of blends in with the orange here, but it's right there, Luoyang. And then all of this orange here is the new territory, encompassing over here, and pretty much all of this southern, you can see, all of this southern kingdom it was mentioning before. The Yellow Turban Rebellion. I have no idea what this is. I've never heard of this. 184 to 205 CE. The Han resumed its military activity against the northern tribes. The cost of war, in tandem with a drought in 184 CE, inflicted poverty and famine upon the realm. Large-scale peasant revolts ensued throughout eastern and central China and led to the rise of the Yellow Turbans, a rebel movement founded on a Taoist sect. The rebellion lasted 20 years and eroded Han authority. How interesting. It sounds like, when you have a rebellion with a dress code, that sounds very like 19th, 20th century. Who knew? So this is some of the rebel areas here. That's a big chunk of land. Over here and over here. Wow. And the rebellion's march to the capital are these blue arrows. They all came in and said, enough, we've got our yellow turbans. Stop being bad. I think I got all the boxes. So let's read all the little captions here. What have we got? 130 BCE, the Han capital Chang'an serves as the eastern terminus of the Silk Road. Right there. That's where the Silk Road either begins or ends, depending on which way you're going or coming. What's over here? 101 BCE, the Great Wall reaches its longest extent during the Han Dynasty, spanning 6,200 miles in total. That's 10,000 kilometers. Wild. I didn't know it went all the way to the border of what's now I guess that's North Korea and Russia there. That's very far. 206 BCE, Han government designates a local administrative center for each commandery. I still think commandery is really cool. That's a great word. 127 BCE, expansion of the canals eases transport of goods such as salt, timber, and copper. Yeah, that makes sense. You can get all the salts over here to the capital. Down here in 112 BCE, forces led by General Liu Bode and Yang Pu bring the kingdom of Nanwei under Han rule. So that was in 112 BCE, so that was way before the later Han. Makes sense. Wow. They really went out there, didn't they? Out to the Tian Shan. Which makes sense because that's definitely all part of modern day China. But still, they really went out there. Alright, let's hop across the pond here. Across the big pond. To look at some ancient American civilizations. We're starting up here with Teotihuacan. That's 300 BC to 600 CE. The multi-ethnic city of Teotihuacan was the center of a distinctive culture based on intensive agriculture, polytheism, and the ritualized practice of human sacrifice. The city's remarkable ruins, such as the large pyramids and multi-story buildings, bear testament to its stature. The city also traded extensively. Obsidian tools and pottery originating in the city have been unearthed in many places across Mesoamerica. So the core area of Teotihuacan was right here, with the capital right there along the lake. And the direction of influence spread north, east, south, and west. All over the place, way up here. Let's see, number 2, the classic Maya. During their classic era, the Maya built grand cities inspired by Teotihuacan. The Maya also interacted with other neighboring cultures, in particular engaging with them in a ball game that ended with ritual sacrifice, sometimes of the losing team. Many Maya temples featured panels on the platform walls bearing giant stucco masks of deities. The classic Maya areas were way over here, along the Yucatan here, and southern Mexico, Guatemala. Monumental architectures are these big old pink pyramids here. They had so many pyramids. Giant stucco mask sites are these symbols where the masks were painted. And their trade routes are all of these little pink arrows, trading extensively throughout their territory all over the place. And then we have the Zapotec culture. The Zapotecs emerged in the valleys in and around Oaxaca. They constructed an impressive cultural hub in Monte Alban, which featured grand terraces, plazas, and a ceremonial platform shaped like the base of a pyramid, located centrally on a hilltop. By 700 CE, I forgot to read the dates, 700 CE, Monte Alban had grown into a city-state of about 25,000 people and interacted with other Mesoamerican regional states. Sorry if you can hear the train outside. So their core area was here. There's Monte Alban. Their direction of influence also went north, east, south, and west. Oh, look, there's some more Maya pyramids over here. How neat. The Maya, it said, was 250 to 900 CE. The Zapotecs were 500 BCE to 900 CE. There's a map going into South America, but let's finish Central America up here and read all these before we go south. 200 BCE, settlement founded. El Teal is continually inhabited for about 1800 years until European arrival in 1531. Yeah, they're just kind of out in the wilderness. That train really needs to honk its horn really bad. I kind of like the sound of the train, but I'm sorry if it bothers you. Circa 400 CE, key site for the production of ceramic pottery used for domestic, ceremonial, and funerary purposes here in Acapulco. Over here, the peninsula. 600 CE, the Maya built a giant step pyramid at Chichen Itza, known as El Castillo, or Temple of Kukulkan, which forms the centerpiece of the ancient city. Yeah, that's the place I want to see in my life. I'd love to go to Chichen Itza. And then down here, from 300 to 800 CE, El Bau is a key center for the manufacture of goods made out of volcanic glass called obsidian. Cool. Because if there's one thing I've learned is I do not know how to pronounce ancient Indian, Chinese, and Mesoamerican city names. Alright, now we're on the coast of the Andes here in western South America. Starting with the Moche Society. I'm going to bring this down so it's easier for me to read. The Moche people channeled streams flowing down from the Andes into, this is 100 to 600 CE. They channeled streams flowing down from the Andes into an extensive system of irrigation canals, enabling them to grow corn, called maize, beans, and other crops. Iconography on Moche artifacts sheds light on the society's customs and includes depictions of processions and rituals. The culture collapsed in about 600 CE. possibly at least partly due to environmental factors such as prolonged droughts. So the Mochi were over here in yellow, and their capital is this star there, Mochi. Makes sense. Then we have the Huari Empire, which I have never heard of. I can't wait. 450 to 1000 CE. The Huari culture flourished from about 600 CE. It was among the first politically centralized civilizations in the New World that expanded as a result of its economic and military might. The empire constructed a major road network which allowed its rulers to govern the realm from the capital, Huari. So you can see Huari is the blue here, and you can see their roads coming through here, and kind of branching off going to their coastal areas here. Oh, you can see they have a coastal road too. That's nice. Very cool. What are these triangles? I don't see them in the key. Oh, it's up here. That was an irrigated river valley. Very cool. Oh, down here. That's so neat. And then we have the Tiwanaku, which I have heard of. That's a very cool culture if you've never heard of the Tiwanaku. 300 to 700 CE. By 500 CE, the city of Tiwanaku had a population of about 40,000. The city center contained a complex of temples, courtyards, terraces, and statues. The site is best known for its monumental gateways, built with a giant single block of stone as the lintel and carved with cosmic and religious imagery. The rulers must have wielded power over a large workforce for the construction of the city's grand palaces and sophisticated rainwater drainage systems. So here's their core area. They were centered around Lake Titicaca, which is really neat because there are some really amazing Tiwanaku archaeological sites in and around Lake Titicaca. Like, there are gates that, like, when the tide went down, you would see them, and when the tide comes up, they're underwater. So there's lots that are just like permanently underwater nowadays, and they're so beautiful. And then you can see how far their influence spread. If I fix the page here, there you go, all the way down here. Very influential peoples. And yeah, really beautiful work. Let's see what all the little boxes say. It says up here in 100 CE, circa 100 CE, brings back down. Moche people built the Huaca del Sol, an adobe brick temple in the central desert of the Moche Valley of what is now Peru. Wow. 600 to 800 CE, the city of Pachacamac is thought to have served as a key administrative center of the Huari Empire. I've never heard, like, the Incas, they have to be built before the Incas. I've heard of the Moche, I've heard of the Tiwanaku, I've never heard of the Huari. So cool. And then circa 300 to 700 CE, the city of Tiwanaku builds an extensive empire, and by 700 rules over more than 3 million subjects. Wow. Very, very neat. Alright, now I would end it there, but I have a map here of Europe that doesn't fit with the next theme. Like, I've looked through the maps and figured out themes, but I have not read the maps, I promise you. So this map doesn't really fit in with either theme. We're just gonna get it over with tonight. Why not? This is about the age of migrations. So it looks like the Roman Empire split, and the Visigoths are coming. 378 to 418 CE. The Visigoths, or the Western Goths, defeated the Romans at Adrianopolis, or Adirna, in 378 before moving west. Led by their king Alaric, they reached Rome in 410 and sacked the city. By 418, they had settled in southern Gaul, allowed to stay by Rome in return for service as mercenaries. This agreement did not last, and the Visigoths established their own capital at Toulouse, which is now Toulouse. The Visigoths are the white arrows down here. You can see they rampaged all over southern Europe here, sacking Rome. around, second row, and heading up here. And the just regular Goths are the blue arrows. I guess that's up here in Britain, heading down here. I'm not sure. This is the British one. I'm looking ahead. Where's this? I don't see any other blue arrows. I don't know. Okay, anyway. Let's move on to the Huns. 370 to 440 CE. I think all these are going to be CE. The Huns arrived in what is now southern Russia from Central Asia in the 370s. From here they moved west, conquering the territory of the Alans and overwhelming the Eastern Goths. Under their powerful leader Attila, they established a large Eastern European empire centered on what is now Hungary, near the borders of both the Eastern and Western Roman Empire. As here comes the Huns. Empire of the Huns. And I'm guessing this arrow too? Did they attack Rome? I thought they just kind of stopped in Hungary and went, we're here now, and became Hungarians. But I decay. Oh, well, I guess we'll find out. I think that's... okay, never mind. There's a lot of arrows here. The Great Migration in 406 CE. In the winter of 406, a vast group of nomadic peoples, Alans, Vandals, and Sueves, I've never heard of them, migrated westward and crossed the Rhine into Roman territory. From here they moved through Gaul and into the Iberian Peninsula, where the Alans and Sueves settled. The Vandals moved on farther, crossing the Strait of Gibraltar into North Africa in 429. So we can see them. I guess this is the Alans here, going this way. And then all these tribes moved down into the Iberian Peninsula. You can see this, the Swips. And of course the Vandals came all the way down here. And eventually became a menace to North Africa. Alright, now let's talk about Britain. Migrations to Britain circa 400-460 BCE. By the early 5th century, Rome had withdrawn its troops from Britain in order to fight invaders elsewhere. In 410, Emperor Honorius instructed the cities of Britain to look to your own defenses, marking the end of Roman rule in the province. Abandoned by Rome, Britain was invaded and settled by Picts, Irish Celts, and Angles and Saxons from northern Europe. So yeah, here we can see the Irish coming in, and the Picts coming in, and the Angles and Saxons coming in. Pretty much forming what's now like British people, Scottish people, Irish people, right? All kind of finally merging and mixing, creating modern British people. Can I get these bottom ones in frame? It's always an adventure with this book. It's too big for my desk, I suppose. I'll do my best. The campaigns of Attila, 440 to 453 CE. Led by Attila, the Huns devastated the Balkans and Thrace, attacked Greece, and extracted tribute from the Eastern Roman Emperor. They then invaded Gaul, where they were defeated by the Romans at the Battle of the Catalonian Fields? Catalonian Fields in 451. The Huns moved into Italy, sacking numerous cities before the Roman Empire sued for peace, and Attila finally left Italy. Do you think sued, like the modern day definition of sued? Like they took Attila the Hun to court? So we can see there's the Empire of the Huns. They came into Thrace. They came into Constantinople. They headed into Roman territory. They went up north to Gaul. And there's the big battle there. Alright, let's try for the next box. Here we go. The Ostrogoths. Ostrogoths, 453 to 493 CE. The Ostrogoths, or Eastern Goths, were one of the peoples subjugated by the Huns in the 4th century. They settled in the Roman province of Pannonia, and after the death of Attila in 453 moved westward and then to northern Italy. From there, under their great leader Theodoric, they extended their power across Italy in the 480s and 490s. So this arrow here is the Ostrogoths coming in from Pannonia into Rome. Alright, I'm gonna have to go like this. Frankish expansion. 357 to 550 CE. What? I'm reading something wrong. Or is that a typo? Did they go back in time? 357? No, 357 to 550. They went very much forward. The Frankish tribes who lived along the empire's border on the Rhine sometimes cooperated with their Roman neighbors and sometimes raided their lands. In 357, their large domain was recognized by the empire, and when Roman power collapsed in the 5th century, the Franks, united under the Merovingian dynasty, conquered most of Gaul. So the pink arrows are the Franks. I see these bright pink arrows, but I thought that that was Attila the Hun. Do you see any other arrows for the Franks? Well, you know the Franks were part of Gaul, but like, I guess that's this arrow right here. Okay. But that doesn't line up with the timeline. I don't understand. I don't see the arrows. Do you? Am I missing something like huge? I don't see them at all. Anyway, let's read all the little boxes and call it a night, because clearly I'm getting sleepy. Circa 400, as the Picts move south, Irish Celts settle in the northern parts of the British Isles and become Scots. Here in circa 441, Germanic peoples from northern Europe begin to settle in Britain. And in circa 457, Britons flee Kent after an Anglo-Saxon victory at Aylesford. 456, the Visigoths begin to expand their kingdom in southern Gaul. They conquer most of Iberia by 500 or so. And then in 414, Arnulf, that does say Athalf, leader of the Visigoths, marries Galla Placidia, daughter of the late Roman Emperor Theodosius at Narbo. The political union there. Alright, let's see if we can get Northern Africa in here to talk about. In 428 to 429, the Vandals crossed the Strait of Gibraltar into North Africa. The kingdom they established lasts until the 6th century. And over here in 430, the Vandals take the city of Hippo. St. Augustine, church father and bishop of the city, dies during the siege. That was some really weird commas there. Church father and bishop of the city dies. Oh, Hippo. St. Augustine, the church father and bishop of the city, dies during the siege. I thought St. Augustine was a place. St. Augustine is a saint. Makes more sense. Let's head down here to Greece and Thrace. Looks like 378, a force of Goths, Alans, and others defeats an army of the Eastern Roman Empire. 396 to 397, Athens and Corinth are among the cities ravaged by the Visigoths. Up here in Italy, 410, the Visigoth king Alaric dies. The Visigoths abandon their plan to invade Africa. What's happening up here in Central Europe? 452, the Huns sack Arculia. Hold on a second. I need to lean in. Arculia? Opening a way into northern Italy for Attila. 453, Attila dies and the Hun Empire disintegrates. 376, thousands of Goths move into Roman territory in Dacia and Lower Moesia. Over here, circa 370, the Huns make their first appearance in the west, having arrived from Central Asia. And in 370 also, after reaching the Volga across the steppes, the Huns start their rapid movement westward. Isn't that the same thing? Okay. And I think that's everything. We got through this crazy map. This one's very hard to read. I don't know if I'm just getting sleepy from doing this, and it's late at night when I'm filming, and a lot of names I've read that I've never heard of throughout all these pages. But my eyes are getting heavy. I don't know about you. So that's going to be it for tonight. So let me show you what's coming up next. We've got maps about the spread of Buddhism, and then I looked at the next map, which we have to pass up some informational pages here, and I saw the map after this was, wait, that wasn't it. I could have sworn. Okay, it is on this page, never mind. The rise of Christianity. So we'll talk about spread of religion coming up next. I figure that's a good little theme. We'll talk about the Byzantine Empire apparently too. I didn't know that. Okay. So that's it for tonight. These videos are always a little chaotic, but again, that's because I'm not reading these in advance. Otherwise, everything would have been clearly laid out and I would have read all this in the right order and knew how to pronounce everything, but that's the fun of this book, is that I'm just diving in and learning along with you guys. So let me know what you think. I hope at least that you found this video relaxing and educational. And I hope that you have a very good night. Good night.